Hey guys, it's Spicy, and in this video I'm going to analyze pro Cypher plays from the Pop Flash tournament. So these are going to be plays from great players like TSM's Cutler, Sentinels Dapr, T1 Crashies, and more. So what I did is I went through the footage and I looked at notable Cypher plays, whether it's a setup on defense or a certain way to attack or a new trick that I found, and I compiled them into this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the clip, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this custom game and we're going to analyze the play. If it was a defensive setup, I'm going to show you the setup, show you any notable smoke spots, any notable camera spots. I'll break it down from their point of view and go into why they did what they did. So this way you can understand their thought process and you can apply it to your games and you can become a better Cypher player, win more games, and rank up. But anyways, there's a lot of 5-head plays to break down. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, this first clip is going to be from Dignitas versus TSM. This is going to be in the opening rounds of the Pop Flash tournament. TSM was attacking, the Dignitas Cypher was guarding Haven, point A, and the Cypher only gets 1 kill in this clip. But what you're going to see is that he's going to win this round for his team with just the camera. Check it out, and we're going to break it down on the other side.
Just to keep that true here on this first round. 3 for Dig as we start off here into our 4th round. You do see Phantom up top. Dephh makes that quick and easy as Wardell's going to try to make a play in the site.
Although it did get attacked just previously, Wardell is looking for an opportunity with those knives. He's got it. Oh, there it is. We talked about this. Just pinging all of the players here, all the info there as they make their way forwards. There's Poise and Shanks picking their way forwards for that retake, and it is just absolutely seamless. It is just Hayes left with the Sheriff to try to find value, and Shanks will shut him down.
So as you guys can see, that was a terrific play. There's a lot of stuff that I want to break down in that clip, so let's get into it. The first thing is the camera spot. So in that video, the camera spot was over there. Fortunately, you can't do this camera spot anymore because they patched it. The way you would do this before is you'd get on this window and you'd walk all the way to the edge of this ledge, and then once you were there, you could put the camera over there. You can't do that anymore because they patched it. So the next best camera spot to that is this one over here. You're going to do a run up start off the ledge, get on this box over here, and pretty much just put it on the same wall. It's just going to be like a meter below, maybe even a half a meter below. It's still essentially the same spot and you're going to get the same result. Now the camera spot isn't the most important thing in that clip. The next thing is how he used it. As soon as he saw the Sova enter the point from long A, he didn't tag him right away. And this is something that I tell a lot of new Cypher players: don't tag the first player that you see, because you give away your game plan, you give away your camera spot, and it's more likely to get destroyed. And if his camera gets destroyed by the Sova in that first instant, then that rest of the play doesn't happen because he doesn't get the intel. So as soon as he saw the Sova, instead of tagging, he exited. And he knew his position, so he's able to peek and hit him right away for an easy kill. And then from that instant, he went back into cover because he knew that TSM knew his position in heaven, and instead he just chose to look from the camera. And this is where he started tagging people because they had already committed onto the point. And his camera spot's so good that he tagged Wardell, the Jet, and he still wasn't able to destroy the camera because they didn't actually find it. And this is where he got so much intel, because remember guys, when you see enemies through the camera, they appear as question marks on your teammate's minimap. So all he has to do is spot the enemies, which he did. He found one player over here, one over here, and the Jet over there. So he found all those 3 players, and he was able to relay all that intel through comms to his teammates. They were able to come in, they knew their positions, it was pretty much easy clap for them, and the Cypher was able to win them this round. Remember, when TSM attacked, again, we're talking about TSM, Wardell, Sub Rosa, they attacked, they did a full rush, the Cypher was alone on point. He had to wait for his team to come to A so they can start the retake. And he was able to do all this just with this camera spot. Really impressive play, impressive camera spot, and very good use of the camera spot. So make sure in your games you're not tagging people with the camera very generously, and also make sure that you're relaying the information that you see from your camera. Alright guys, we're going to move on to the next clip, and we're going to keep rolling with these 5-head plays. Now as we all know, long B is Cypher's wheelhouse on defense, but what people don't understand is that long A is your wheelhouse on offense. So in this next clip, T1 Crashies is going to show you guys how you should be attacking with Cypher on A on split. Take a look. You're not going to see everything. There's some stuff that the camera doesn't show, but I'm going to break it down in full on the other side.
It's nice. And also, they're exchanging cam kills. And it looks like Caboose is going to be able to find the kill onto EU there in middle. I think that was over the wall.
Crashies fearless as he finds 2.
Alright, so the main thing you guys saw was Crashies get those 2 picks on A ramp. But there's a lot of stuff before that you missed out on. So I'm going to go over that right now. So essentially what he did, and this is something that every Cypher should know on A, on attack, these 2 smoke spots right here. What you're going to do is before the round starts, you're going to come over here and you're going to line up with this wooden part right over here. This is something that Sentinels Dapr does every time on A. So once you're in position, what you're going to do is pretty much just wait for the wall to go down. Once the wall goes down, look at the left side of the umbrella right over here. You're going to let this one go right over here. It's going to land on long A. And then you're going to look at the corner of this building just a little to the right. And you're going to let this go. This is going to land on the ramp right over there. So what this does is it gives you the smokes to block both of these chokes off. But more importantly, this smoke right over here is great for pushing this ramp. So if you sneak up this ramp right over here with this smoke, you're almost going to see the opponent before he sees you, and you're going to be able to get that easy pick. And at the very least, you're going to throw them off guard, and you're going to be able to kill people right over here. And that's exactly what you saw Crashies do in the video. So make sure you keep this smoke right over here in your back pocket. It's great to push up and clear these critical corners right over here. And then you can just move and you can start clearing these areas right over here. Now let's say you do this. You put these smokes down, you activate it, and you end up getting a kill right over here with this smoke, and you push and your team wins the round. This is where Cypher really shines, because next round what you're going to do is the same thing but a little different. You're going to start playing mind games with your opponent, and this is what every pro Cypher does. So once you get them with that trick, you're going to line up just like before. You're going to throw these smokes once the wall goes down, and what you're going to do this time is you're going to activate these smokes, but you're simply going to quietly go down ropes, rotate to mid. What this does is it makes the guy on A ramp think that you're going to do the same thing again, but you're not there. So now this way, you give your team an advantage on B side. Play mind games like this is how you attack with Cypher. It's about playing mind games. It's about trying to get as much intel as you can. And if while doing that, you get a couple picks, you've done a pretty good job. Alright guys, the next play we're going to take a look at is going to be a play by Sentinels Dapr. He was guarding B site, which is unusual, but that's what he was doing. He put a camera in garage. He had two trap wires on the left and right side of entry on B, positioned himself behind this board over here, and he was pretty much able to pick the other team apart with this setup. Take a look at the clip and we'll talk about the setup on the other side.
Not even a fair fight on a pistol round.
Again, they have these traps that are ready for a retake, ready to stop Envy as they come in. There's one, you were right. It was that save here, so it's going to be tough for Envy to come in. And the traps are just shutting them down. Dapr Sinatra making quick work of B.
So as you guys just saw, that was a terrific setup. And he pretty much melted through the other team before his teammates even arrived to the point. So they didn't show him setting up before the round started, but I made an approximate guess as to where the trap wires were. I think the left side trap wire was this one over here, and the right side one was this one over here. So this one you just put off the cylinder over here, attaches over here. This one you put it off this box over here, it goes right there. Essentially what happened is the Phoenix went right side, he activated the trap wire. That was a very easy kill. But what happened on the right side over here is that the Omen destroyed the wire, which let Dapr over here know that his right side wire got destroyed, so he knew someone was obviously there. So he was able to pre-fire this one very easily because he knew where that person was. Now another thing that I really quickly want to talk about is his camera positioning. As I said previously, he had his camera in garage and not on B site, and this is something very common that you see on Haven because it's a 3-point map. What you're going to see a lot of Cyphers do is instead of doing one setup, they're going to do a hybrid setup, and the goal for the hybrid setup is essentially to cover as much area as you can with your utilities because that gives you intel. You know, every other map in this game is 50-50. You have a 50% chance of guessing correctly of where the enemy is going to rush, but on Haven it's 33%. So instead of taking the gamble and anchoring down on A, B, or C, people spread their utilities out just a little more so you get a little more intel. An alternative trap wire setup you can do is put a trap wire near the end over here and put a trap wire over here. What this allows you to do is that you essentially can just stand right over here, and as soon as someone gets trapped in the wire, you can literally just wallbang them because everything is in your line of sight. So this right over here and this right over here. So this allows you to wallbang. So this is an alternative setup for site B if the enemy catches on to what you're initially doing on Ascent on B. And this is going to be Vice from C9, and what you're going to see him do is make a very aggressive play to take control of B main, which was critical in this game. Both teams were constantly fighting for B main, and Vice decided to just make a very aggressive play, and it paid off. Check it out.
This is, I mean, C9's composition would be the one I was talking about earlier, that if C9 went down, say it was just 8-4 in favor of Dig, C9 now being on defense with this Sentinel composition would be gross. And
now a slight backstory to that play I want to give you guys is that, again, as I said before, both teams were constantly fighting out for control of B main. And one of the things that the opposing Cypher would do a lot is he would throw the cyber cage, he would come here, and he would try to take control of B main like this, and he would put a camera over here. And he would try to look through the camera and see if he can take control that way. So what Vice did to counter that instead is that he knew that there would be a Cypher cage here. So instead he put a camera over here right when the wall went down. And he snuck over here into this cubby. And he knew that there would be a smoke to cover him. And essentially what he did is he set up like a cross view where he can see the person coming over here before they see him. And if they come to shoot at the camera, then he can just peek and take care of them. Fortunately for him, the Cypher just walked by him and he simply peeked and he just took care of him. Instead of just sitting back on defense, this is something that you could do to catch the enemy by surprise. Let's say it's an eco round and the enemy is going to be stacking B and they're going to rush B main. In that situation, if you're sitting back and just kind of waiting, you're really going to get rolled over because your teammates aren't going to be able to retake in time. And by the time they come over here, you're probably not going to be alive. So instead, it's better to almost make an aggressive camera spot play where you kind of get behind them or you see them first and you peek and you try to get as many picks as you can. Because if a team is full rushing a site, it's pretty much a given that you're not going to be alive. So if you can take a couple down with you, that's very effective. So these type of aggressive camera spots, as I always say, are very, very useful, especially when you have an idea that the other team is going to rush. So this is something that I would always use like first round of the game when it's going to be a pistol round. And somewhere in the middle of the game when you know the enemy is going to eco, this is very useful because it can help you take down a couple enemies. So by the time your team comes to the point to retake, instead of it being like a 4v5 or a 3v5, it's going to end up being like a 3v4 or even a 3v3. Alright guys, this next clip is going to be another one from the TSM versus Dignitas game. And I just wanted to show this clip because it shows how good Cypher is on B site, on bind. Specifically when you position yourself in this elbow right over here with trap wires on point and a camera that you're going to see that's going to be somewhere over here. This is a very good setup by TSM's Cutler. They're not going to win the round, but you're going to see that he comes pretty close to doing it himself.
But when they execute, it seems unstoppable right now.
Yeah, this is really dangerous. This is really, really dangerous. Except hookah and sight, which is not ideal. We'll have to see what they can do with it.
TSM all trying to funnel. Can they make it in? One shot coming in here. Superman tries to find a few, and they're just able to clean up some kills as Cutler is working the rest of the team, but...
And there's a couple things that stood out in that clip. So let's start with the trap wires because that's what you saw the opposing Cypher run into. So I can tell you that that trap wire was approximately over here. You could also put some trap wires over here like this. You can also do this over here. This is a unique one right over here. And don't forget, you can also put this trap wire over here for long B. These spots are very good because they're low to the ground, and typically this area right over here is the red zone and people are going to be checking every corner. So they're not going to have time to look down and, you know, make sure that there's no wire there. So very good trap wire spots. Combo with cages here. It's going to work out really well. As soon as someone walks in the trap wires, activate the cages. That's what they do. Now, the next thing I want to talk about in that clip is the camera positioning, because this camera was pretty good because he was able to stare at 3 people for like 15-20 seconds before his camera got destroyed. That's pretty good right over here. This is the camera spot he used. When you make that camera slightly better by getting on the box and simply putting the camera over here on this ledge, it still gives you the same view, and it's going to be a little harder for them to shoot it down. Still very, very good, and it lets you know if anyone's in this cubby. That's why this spot right over here is very good, because most times when people attack long B, they're going to go into this cubby over here and it gives you a perfect view. Alright guys, this next clip is going to be from Dignitas versus TSM again, and in this clip you're going to see the Cypher from Dignitas use the Cyber Cage in a very unique way to escape a difficult situation, which most people don't usually do. So what you're going to see in this clip is he's going to be opping on bind, and he's going to get into a tricky situation, but he uses his extra Cyber Cage to get out of that situation and actually make something out of it.
They don't have any info.
What a check here. Cutler still waiting on the backside, hoping to get a rotation. The TSM members need to make the shots as they do have numbers up for the rotation inside here from Dephh. Oh my god, he drops Wardell. It's the Ghost coming up over the Guardian. He's gonna op it.
So as you saw in that clip, he used a Cyber Cage to get out of a very tricky situation, and this is something I don't see people do enough. Everyone knows you can use your Cyber Cage for one-way smokes. Most people use both of their Cyber Cages right at the beginning of the round, so they're already on the ground, so you can't do anything about them. But this might be a reason why you might want to hold on to one Cyber Cage, especially if you're opping, because it can always help you to throw it on the ground. It can get you out of a tricky situation, especially if there's a Sova arrow on the wall, because if you're inside the Cyber Cage, the Sova arrow won't sense you, especially if someone's rushing you like Wardell did in that clip. This is a really good way to get out of a tricky situation, and on top of that, he also ulted, so he gave the enemy's position away. So this is more of a general tip, but always be aware that if you have a Cypher cage, you can use it to get out of a lot of tricky situations. Alright guys, this next clip is not going to be a Cypher clip. This clip is what I think is the best play in the tournament. It's going to be C910s getting a fat triple kill. So I'm going to show you that to end the video. But before I do that, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, and the notification bell. Go follow Twitch Spicy Curry 0. Remember, Saturday, Sunday, 12 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. And remember, if you like this Cypher video, there's a lot more Cypher content on this channel. You're going to see it all over here. But also make sure you go to the main channel page, check it out. There's a lot of good stuff there. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. And as always, stay spicy.
They're not giving Dig opening shots here. Dig's pushing out only slightly to find these. Here's the first round we're really seeing from C9 get aggressive on their side, saying, yeah, that was an eco, Dig's going to push. Now they will not expect our push on the next.
They can just play very passively. They have a lot of sound cues to know that, this could be so huge.
The patience.
The trigger discipline, you can see 3, 1, 2, the third as well. Beautiful work from TenZ. He got set up and that was a slam dunk.
Cage trigger found.